Common misconceptions about Australia. Australians are very big drinkers. Not so. Australia is actually ranked 44th on the global alcohol consumption ladder. Yes, there is such a thing as the global alcohol consumption ladder. Always fly Qantas. They've never crashed, ever. In the modern age, since 1951, there's not been one single fatality in the air with Qantas. However, in the early days of the Queensland and Northern Territory Air Service, there were just as many crashes as anybody else. But in the modern age, they're still the safest airline, so fly Qantas. Always fly Qantas.
Never crash. Qantas never crash.
Australians are blonde with blue eyes, natural born surfers, and look like they've come out of the cast of Neighbours or Home and Away. This is a stereotype which dismisses the country's original inhabitants, the Australian Aboriginals. But even more so, it ignores the fact that Australia is a very multicultural country with a very diverse population coming from all corners of the earth. Yes, Australia has people from Asia, from Europe, from Africa, from South America, and from North America. All over the world. So, no, we're not all blonde and blue-eyed, and we don't all surf from birth. Don't go to Australia, mate. The wildlife will kill ya. Sure, Australia's got its fair share of some of the world's most deadly spiders, snakes, sea creatures. Yeah, sure, you hear about people getting eaten by a crocodile or bitten by a shark or whatever, but in truth, you have more of a chance of falling out of bed and killing yourself than you have of dying from, I don't know, the bite of a brown snake or a funnel web or whatever. Most tourists stick to the coast, and basically that's not really that dangerous unless you go to the ocean, and that's where the sharks are. Australians live on a diet of meat. Meat. Only meat. Can't be a vegetarian if you go to Australia. There's no choice. You just got to eat those sausages. Not true. As we mentioned before, Australia is a highly multicultural society, and therefore you can get anything you like to eat in Australia. And what's more, the food is plentiful because Australia is the lucky country. Ooh, look at the koala bear. Isn't it cute and cuddly? Koala, actually. The word means no drink. Koalas are marsupials. Say it with me. Marsupial. They're more closely related to kangaroos and wombats. You know, those great big sort of footstools with noses. They're far more closely related to those than they are to, you know, Paddington or Smokey the Bear or whatever. They live in trees and they live on eucalyptus leaves. And basically, you're not going to see them on the ground unless they're going from one eucalyptus tree to another. Oh, and while we're at it, kangaroos don't roam the streets. Most of Australia's population live in the cities on the fertile edge of the country and very rarely go into the bush or the outback, which is different. So therefore, the average Australian would be just as scared, shocked or surprised to see a kangaroo, and would most likely only ever see them if they went to the zoo. Or it's the zoo. You know, I've seen Suicide Squad, and I know that all Australians are dab hands at throwing boomerangs. Well, contrary to what you might see and hear in the movies, not all Australians are adept at throwing the boomerang. And by the way, not all boomerangs come back. May as well tell you now that we have regular knives too. They're all machetes. Australia is such a small country compared to the US. I've seen it on a map. I reckon that you could drive across Australia, east to west, in a day. Look at this map. As you can see, you can actually fit all of the United States and then some. In fact, Australia is roughly comparable in size to Canada. You can fit a whole lot of Europe inside Australia. And the largest property is one in South Australia, which is larger than the entire country of Belgium. Wow, that's huge. I heard that Captain Cook discovered Australia in 1770. I have it on good authority. Captain Cook? No way! No bloody way! First off, he wasn't even a captain, he was a lieutenant. The first white fella known to hit the shores of Australia was Dirk Hartog in the 17th century. He landed off the coast of Western Australia and found Rottnest Island. You know, the place where the quokkas live. Even further back, the Chinese were here in the 15th century, and then you go way back thousands of years, and guess who? The Aboriginals. They came down from Asia, and they settled in Australia, bringing with them their wild dogs, the dingoes. And yes, dingo did eat the baby. Aussie, Aussie, oh! Australians are brilliant at sport. That's because they're all just, you know, lean and bronze and tan and all that stuff. Didn't you listen to me before? Okay, we did say before that Australia is the lucky country and has plentiful food supply. That means that Australia has a high problem with obesity. Not all Australians play sports. In fact, Australians are pretty much average, pretty much the same as everyone else. Okay, sure, we do pretty well in the Olympics, but that's not all Australians. Sad but true.